Welcome to APOX, a game set in a post-apocalyptic universe. And that's all you'll know about the game's setting, because there is no story mode or campaign mode. Starting off, we have several options in the main menu. Of course, there's a tutorial, but it's useless because you don't find out anything and you'll still be wondering what the hell is going on. Going further, we have a single-player co-op and versus mode. And you can, of course, play by yourself on a single player, but you still have to connect to a server, which is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. But the best thing about this game is 16 versus 16 player co-op. Badass. I never seen this in an RTS game before, and I was left to imagine how could Blue Giant pull this off. Well, it comes down to limited resources and units you can build. So how did they go around the limited units you can build and fight with? Well, it led to a lot of micromanaging. And micromanaging is something that not a lot of players, or maybe some players, don't like to do. So you're left with gathering ammo for your units, gas for your cars, and even setting targets from some of your units, because some of your units don't react even if an enemy is walking by. A big no-no in an RTS game. There are several structures you can build, such as a barracks, a car depot, a clinic, a mechanic, a turret, and a bunker. The barracks and the car depot are upgradable, so you can get a different variety of units. And of course, your units can have different guns. This is another micromanaging solution. Your sniper unit can have a mortar, or your rifleman can have a flamethrower. So each unit can carry 2 weapons. And of course, if that wasn't enough, each weapon breaks. So after a couple of fights, your unit has to return to the base. You have to build a new gun for that unit and equip it. And of course, ammo also depletes, so you have to gather ammo, which is one of the resources, and it's automatically shared between units. So if one unit has full ammo and the other doesn't, they share. Another resource that is used and you need to gather is gas. If you want to use a flamethrower or drive cars, you need gas. There's also salvage, from which you build buildings and units, and there's survivors, that is basically your population cap. And there's also a 5th element, it's called metal, and you scrap that from downed airplanes, and it lets you build end-game units such as a big-ass tank or a super cannon that ends the game. Pretty cool, but it takes a long time to build, and it takes a very long time to harvest, which in some games you don't even get to that. So how do you go around with limited resources and units? Well, if you play a big game, you can easily get around that by taking enemy bases, which sounds easier than it is, because after playing the questionable tutorial, you'll have a hard time even playing on easy. Fortunately, a lot of players online don't know how to play the game either, so it's pretty much balanced online. The game has lots of no-nos, such as unbalanced units. 2 mortar units can destroy your base in a matter of about a minute. The anti-tank unit can take out about 3 cars before it dies. And there's not a lot of variation between units themselves. There's 3 basic cars, which can then be upgraded with armor, with the same kind of weapon. Of course, you can put an infantry unit into that car, so it gives you a little bit of variety in that field. There's over 100 maps in this game, and there's also a level editor, but most of the maps are locked. And if you want to host a 16 vs 16 map, you have to unlock it first, and the way you do that is by winning matches and collecting points. Or you play with the guy that already unlocked the map first. So to unlock a single map, you have to have at least 3 to 4 points, which sucks if you want to play a big match or host a game with your friends. There are several other minor things I didn't like, such as no multi-monitor support. The music in the main menu is very annoying, but thank God you can turn it off. The graphics are okay, and the game can be slow at times. Not performance-wise, but unit-wise and resource-wise. If you're playing a big game, 16 versus 16, things can pick up quickly by taking enemy units, bases. But if you're playing 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 1, it can be a very long match. So in conclusion, what I like about this game is the amount of players that can play it simultaneously. Also, the units are upgradable with different guns, and that gives you a nice variety. Also, a little cool feature, after each game you play, you get an email, and if you have a smartphone, it gets sent right to your smartphone, and it gives you all your stats, wins, losses, and such. So, what's the score on this game? Well, I don't give scores to games. I either say buy or rent or borrow, and this game is definitely a rent. But since you can't rent games on the PC, it's not a biggie because it's only $10, so you can get some fun for 3 days for 10 bucks, and you can move on with your life. The game is pretty average, and if you're bored and you're tired of StarCraft or any other RTS that you're playing now, give it a shot. If you like it, good. If you don't, hey, it's only 10 bucks, right? So, this has been Conrad for Gamersheep.com, and if you have any questions regarding this game, send me an email at conrad@gamersheep.com, and see you on the battlefield.